Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on the wee early morning hours of Friday, January 31st. We're going to take a look at AEHL today. So I made a video on this previously talking about the jump in volume that we saw back here in December and that led into January. And just sort of speculating, is something up? We weren't sure, if you zoom out here, you see how, this volume pack in December into January really stands out, right, from the super low volume previously here. That said, this is what the long-term AEHL chart looks like. It's a catastrophe. And it has continued to move down since then, though volume has kind of stayed elevated a bit. It still is a relatively low volume stock. Gets between, say 1.5 to 4 million or so in this elevated position. On big days, it gets in the dozens or the 20s. But it is interesting, back in these days, we're talking about less than 200,000 in volume, 500,000, 400,000. So, interesting to see the jump in volume, but it has just bled since then, right? So seemingly the volume jump came in ahead, pushed it up, and then the sell volume is what persisted the increase in the volume. So initial volume boost maybe helped the stock sort of run up here toward this like 28-cent mark, and then the volume that kicked in after that has really just been dominated by sell volume, and to whatever degree, folks coming in to try to unload shares and seemingly get out of AEHL. I did put these fib extension to the downside, so it's not really a retracement levels. It's just saying, okay, so since there's been such a run to the downside here, if we extend that out further, what does it look like? And that was just to give us some leveling in between, what looked like it could have been consolidating here at 1537. I guess it did consolidate and then it just shot down, right? This is a minus 18.55% day. And the fib gives us a level down here at 7 cents. So I don't know if it'll be able to catch something else, in the interim and maybe make a run back up, but all signs at the moment, at least, pointing to that kick up in volume, giving a brief lift in the stock price, and then the sellers just piling in to say, I'll add to the volume, but I'm going to add strong sell side volume here, and that's what's going to dominate. If we do see something recovering, you can see the levels here: 15, 18, 20, 22, so on and so forth. Let's hide these for a moment and see if we can take or make any use out of the EMAs here. It is still within sort of striking range with the 8, 21, and 34 EMAs. The 183 all the way up here over $1. I can't imagine that plays a role anytime soon. Something earth-shattering in AEHL's favor were to come in, maybe, but it's not appearing so at the moment. It's going to 10x the stock, but yeah, it is, recently been in contact with the white 8 EMA, but just showing every indication that it just wants to treat it as resistance, as you can see here. Yeah, that really started back on, 8th, 10th, somewhere around there of January, so a few weeks ago, and has just persisted ever since. Even in big volume days, jumps up over 12% this day, but really just comes back down and keeps treating the 8 EMA as resistance. So nothing threatening to cross over there, no price action looking like it wants to work through it at the moment. But again, some major catalyst comes in, maybe. But again, this is the long-term history of AEHL. I don't know what the end game here is. But we do see, huge walls, right? Big wall here, big volume wall, where AEHL was trying to consolidate. And when it did that and it fell apart, buyers stopped showing up at this level. When the buyers stop showing up, we get down here, we're in very thin volume land because we're at the lowest of lows. And where do we go from here? Who's stepping in to buy the stock, I think, is really the question at this point. And if they do, what does this wall look like, right? This wall, as you get to like 15, maybe even a little earlier than 15. And then you just have progressive walls all the way up through the 20s. I'm sure there's a lot of folks that would be super happy if it were to get through that progression of walls, but it's seeming to me to probably have a tough road ahead of it. Nothing much to see here. We don't have any info for whatever reason on the positioning, the profited shares proportion, order flow. Not really anything to show large scale orders wise. I did see, we had speculated last time. As best I recall, this was not here, so maybe it's just sort of a reporting delay, which is always a pleasure, right? You see volume spikes and stuff like that, and you're like, what is that? And then it just takes 6 weeks or 8 weeks to get the report, and so by that point it's irrelevant. But because I don't think that this was here last time, unless I'm just misremembering, this has basically nothing useful because this is super, super old info. And so seemingly it was not the insider activity that was driving this bump in volume. Again, maybe questionable data here on the Webull side of things. I don't know. But yeah, that's what it looks like. I don't know what else to say besides that. We do see several triggers and fires here on the TTM squeeze indicator. And we're in like a third or a fourth iteration of a retrigger and a refire with like nothing really happening. That's moving it off of this mid-range ATR level, or moving it out of just being sort of buried in the midst of the belly of the beast of the channel that it's in. And so, does that sort of pent up energy from 3 or 4 triggers and fires really pop off at some point? Maybe. But again, I don't know what it would take in order for that to happen. Like, what catalyst would you need? And even if so, how do you know that it's a positive catalyst? Because again, this is what the long-term chart looks like. So seemingly, there have been mostly people interested in selling AEHL over time. Short interests paring down a bit, but it had jumped up a ton, in recent weeks. Yeah, like just ahead of that break of the new year. So yeah, this is a tough one for sure. Also, the other thing to maybe consider is it's a holding company, mainly engaged in live streaming e-commerce business. So, I guess my point here is like, it's not in, I guess is, unless it changes something, unless something changes or I'm not comprehending something, it's seemingly not in artificial intelligence. It's not in biopharma. It's not in some sort of, major cutting edge tech that could have the potential for some huge catalyst, some big sector rotation or something to come in and just sort of, make this baby fly. So I don't mean to be ultra pessimist here, but yeah, this got on the radar screen because of the bump in volume. From what I can tell at the moment, that has just resulted in sustained bump in tremendous sell side volume. And so maybe something that sort of got cooked up in order to get a bunch of people out of positions. I have no idea. But yeah, that's as far as I can tell what the deal is at the moment with AEHL. All right, folks, so I hope that you have a good trading day ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.